In this video, the Small Business Administration exclusively released an official statement to me reading that the federal agency will not open the new application portal where small business owners can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000 pursuant to the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 on January 17, 2021, contrary to multiple reports on YouTube and the rest of the web. As you very well know, I'm probably the only vlogger on YouTube to have a direct line of communication with the Small Business Administration as per my previous videos. Most of you who have been watching me from the jump since last spring know this, as I have reported developments with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program as the Small Business Administration releases them. So I do this because I am a professional reporter. I have written for Forbes as a journalist, for the Huffington Post. You can see my work all over the web. So what happened was that I read on nav.com, which is a prominent website. I've told you about nav.com through their $10,000 and $5,000 grant programs that they'll be opening in January this month. Nav's credit expert, Jerry Detweiler, reported on January 11, 2021, that the Small Business Administration was set to open the new disaster loan application where people will be able to request the Economic Injury Disaster Loan grant of up to $10,000 on January 17, 2021. You also see reports parroted on other websites such as NFIB. This is actually the first website that reported on it because it was January 9th, 2021. So I'm not sure whether NAV actually took this information from them and stated that it was from the SBA. You could also see it on businessnorth.com. I haven't seen this website before. Nonetheless, the most prominent of these websites is nav.com, as you can see, January 17th, 2021. So I asked the Small Business Administration directly, are you going to open the new application portal where small business owners can request an economic injury disaster loan grant of up to $10,000 on January 17, 2021? This is Andrea Robker. She is I'll tell you right now, the Regional Communications Director for Region 5, which includes Illinois, Indiana. You can read the rest of her profile on, if you just simply Google her name, on SBA.gov. And this is what she wrote. Hi Neil, thanks for your inquiry. We're not sure where nav.com got this information, and I'll be reaching out to Jerry next. That's nav.com's credit expert. As the targeted EIDL advanced details have not been determined, right now the SBA is working expeditiously to identify new changes to program rules, forms, and processes as laid out in the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act, and appropriately update guidance and systems for the targeted EIDL advanced program the SBA will administer. We are committed to ensuring the relief programs launch as quickly as possible to deliver critical economic aid to America's small businesses and other eligible organizations. As we update this program and build new economic aid programs, including the Economic Aid Act, the agency continues to support economic injury disaster loans, which are open through December 31st, 2021. Most of you know that, the PPP program, along with traditional SBA programs. If you want to stay up to date, basically follow them on Twitter, subscribe to the SBA's newsletter, and visit SBA.gov, and most specifically the SBA.gov virus relief page. And what I've done is, for those of you who have been watching my previous videos, on that spreadsheet where I post links to information, resources, and application portals for grants for everyone, I created a new tab labeled EIDL, and I have links to all this stuff. SBA Twitter, the SBA newsletter, the disaster aid page. Click the subscribe button and click the bell notification to stay on top of any exclusive developments with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant Program coming straight out of the Small Business Administration of the federal government themselves. And for most of you already know that you have to meet two conditions according to the new law, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, in order to receive an economic injury disaster loan grant of $10,000. One of which, you have to operate your business in a, quote, low-income community. And you have to have suffered a revenue loss during an 8-week period between March 2nd, 2020 and December 31st, 2021, of more than 30% when compared to an 8-week period immediately preceding March 2nd, 2020, or in 2019. And you have to operate a business with no more than 300 employees. And there is Section 332 of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, which reads that anybody who applies for a loan, for an economic injury disaster loan, may also be able to request, and that the Small Business Administration will have to disperse a grant of up to $10,000 to any business that does so within 21 days' time, as long as they're an eligible entity. Eligible entity meaning that, according to the Small Business Administration, you operate a business with no more than 500 employees. Now, if you want to ensure that you operate or determine whether you operate a business in a low-income community as defined by the Small Business Administration, first off, let's take a quick look at the law. What it reads, real quick, the term low-income community has the meaning given to the term in Section 45DE of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. So if we look at that code real quick, the term low-income community means any population census tract if the poverty rate for such tract is at least 20%, or in the case of a tract not located. We'll get into subsection I in a minute. Let's just take a look at this one. Let's see if this is how you can determine whether you meet the condition of having a poverty rate in your census tract of at least 20%. Okay? They go off census data. So basically, you go to this particular website, and I got a link to this on that EIDL tab on my 2021.1 spreadsheet that lists grants or information resource and application portals for grants for everyone. So I went ahead and entered this, one of my first addresses, 13828 90th Ave, Jamaica, New York. As I told you, South Suicide, Queens, ladies and gentlemen. South Suicide, Queens. Anyway, and basically, and I'll just show you how it looks real quick, keeping it funky right here. This is it right here. I grew up in this building right here, apartment C2. Used to be hanging out of this window right here, urinating out of the bathroom window. I know it's grimy, pardon me. I was a senseless 5-year-old. Anyway, coming out of here, my dog's chasing people out here. We almost burned down this building with jumping jack firecrackers. If you remember that, there was a crack spot right here. This is fine grocery. We used to buy the 40s, the Sainide, Special Brew, everything. Tropical Fantasy for 50 cents. Potato chips. Those of you who are from New York City know of this. This is in Queens. Anyway, all right. So much for a trip back to memory lane. Let's get to the real stuff. Anyway, so what we do is, so I have this linked on the EIDL tab. For you to identify whether you're in a low-income census tract, first, find the first table. It's S1701, right? And right here, gives you poverty status in the past 12 months, all right? And then we go to geos real quick. I think I missed a step. Hold on. All right, so we go back to the geo map. All right, feel free to rewind this video as much as you can, as much as you need to, after watching it till the end, of course, first time around. And this is your census tract right here, 212. This is a number that identifies the area where you live, or where you operate your business, rather. So you go back to the census table that we just pulled up, S1701, and we go to geos, we go to tract, right? We're looking, and I had already queried this stuff. Queens County, Queens, man. Census tract 212, which, all right, 212, which ironically is the area code for Manhattan, outside of Queens. It's another borough of New York City. Anyway, and it gives you right here, population for whom the poverty status is determined, and right here, it reads percent below poverty level, 35.5%, which means that if I still operated my business on 13828 90th Avenue, I would meet the condition, so the federal government will classify me as operating a business in a low-income community, because the poverty rate in the area where I would have operated my business is at least 20%. Now, in the case of a tract not located within the metropolitan area, the median family income for such tract does not exceed 80% of statewide median family income. So if you're not within a metropolitan area, just to be clear, metropolitan area, there is a broad set of definitions. I'll include a link to that in the spreadsheet right here. You can go ahead and read through it if you want. It may not be that important, it may so, and if it is that important, then if you want to actually know what is what the federal government classifies as a metropolitan area. Feel free to read through this information. Basically, it's a place with a lot of people. So New York City, definitely a metropolitan area. Los Angeles, definitely a metropolitan area. You live out in the sticks. I think the biggest expanse of place that I think I found that was furthest away from a metropolitan area or anything, even like a gas station, which is like 20 minutes away, is, I guess, when I was stationed in the military, Colts Neck, New Jersey, just to get to the gas station was 10 minutes away from the base when I was in the Navy, and Colts Neck, New Jersey, Carson, Virginia, etc. So if you're not in a metropolitan area, so you have to be able to identify whether your median income does not exceed 80% of the state's median income. So we'll go back. This is and I list numbers to these tables, S1901, which gives you the income in the past 12 months, right? Search. Now, when you're looking up here, you want to ensure that you look for the income, the ACS 5-year estimate subject tables, okay? So S1901, and then we go back to geos. So we're looking at the right thing over here. So you first want to look up your census tract. Census tract, this is important. You got to look at the last 5 years, because if you do past 1 year, you won't be able to find the census tract. You go to census tract, no results found. And this is all pre-filled, this right here. See, no results found. It won't let you get beyond this right here. That'll be a problem you'll encounter. Okay, so basically, 5 year right here. You go to geos, census tract. We've already got, I think we've got everything already set up because I did this. So, I mean, basically what you would do is you would find your state. I'll just go ahead and do it, although it's redundant at this point. It's already selected. And then, of course, we go to Queens. Like my man Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall said, a place where you can find women worthy of a king, Queens. Census tract. You may beg to differ. Anyway, so median income, median family income is $44,500 for my census tract, okay? Now we want to find for the state of New York. So we can just go right back right here. Go to state, New York, clear out the 212 census tract, close, and the median family income for the state of New York is $84,385. So you go ahead, so it was about 44,000 and 84,000. So you can just go ahead and perform a quick search on Google. 44 divided by 84. It's about 50% or so, 52%, right? I think I lost everything. Yep. All right, so let's go back. Let's just close this out. Yeah. All right, cool. So it's about 52%. So what does the definition read? How does the federal government classify me as a low? In the case of a tract not located within a metropolitan, this of course isn't a metropolitan area, just giving you an example if you don't live one. The median family income for such tract does not exceed 80% of statewide median family income. So at 52%, it does not exceed 80% of statewide family income. In the case of a tract located within a metropolitan area, the median family income for such tract does not exceed 80% of the greater or statewide median family income or the metropolitan area median family income. So I could just, the metropolitan area could be defined as, this is all estimates, and the Small Business Administration will determine the exact way, but this will give you a rough idea as to whether the federal government will classify you as as operating your business in a low income community. So if I want to compare it as opposed to the New York State, I could just go to New York City. So we go to, or you know what, even take it down to New York, to Queens County, right? Let's take it down to Queens County. Do the same thing all over again. New York, we're in Queens, right? Let's perform a query right here. Make this stuff easy for you. Queens County. Close for Queens County. It's 84,000. Same thing. It's about around the same number. There's two geos though. Let me see. Let's take this out. Let's take this geo out. Okay. So look, people make even more money. 98,000. So it's even greater than 52% if I compare it to Queens County. Or if I compare it, can I compare it? Let me see if I can compare it to the whole city. Let me just see real quick. State, block. They may not get down all the way to city. Although even the city is bigger though. Let me just see if they could, there's no way to query this stuff. nation, region, state. Maybe what you could do it to the region. All right, so you could take it as far as you could take a look at all these geography levels and compare the income level in your census tract in comparison to either the metropolitan area or the states. Talk soon.